Good morning, Karoo. Today is the 57th anniversary of my birth, 20th of March, year of our Lord 2025. And I'm here to tell you about yesterday, the 19th of March, which, as I said, was an exciting day. Had a lot of stuff going on. So not a lot to visually entertain you about the day, but I'll give you a quick run through. As you can see, it's another beautiful day. I think today is supposed to be the nicest day for a while, and then tomorrow it's supposed to maybe the weather's going to take a turn and maybe start raining, but that's okay. So yesterday we did our normal couple of walks, morning walk with the neighbors, and then Sarah and I did an afternoon walk. But in the morning we had a guy who restores tile floors come in and take a look at our tile floor. And we'd gotten his contact information last fall, and I just hadn't gotten around to getting him to come over. And this guy was awesome. This is what you want when you call an artisan, right? He comes over and he can't stop telling us all about his about tiles, and he's talking about what kind of tiles we have, and I mean, it takes him 3 minutes to look at the floor and say, yeah, I'll clean it. It'll take me 2 days to clean it, and I can replace all the broken tiles. That'll take me another day, and that's basically the job. But then we spent like 40 minutes, and he was so excited to tell us about the different, every time he started talking about tiles, it would take him on a tangent, and he'd talk about, various types of tiles and where they were made and the process through which they were made. And then he'd say, I'm sorry, I'm lecturing on this. And we're like, no, we want to. So it was really fun to have him here. And also I'm excited to have him come clean up those tiles and make that floor look even nicer. And I said to him, he looked at it and he goes, yeah, it definitely needs cleaning. And I said, you wouldn't believe the amount of time I spent cleaning. He goes, oh, I know, they're really hard to clean. So anyway, that was awesome. So that was like at 9 o'clock in the morning. At 10 o'clock, our neighbor Kesha, Tom's wife, Kesha, who is also a writer. I don't know if I've talked too much about Kesha, but so she writes children's books. And, it's one of these things where they mentioned that she had written some children's books, but they really underplay it, And I looked her up, and she was like the young poet laureate for Wales one year. So she's like quite an accomplished writer and well recognized for her writing. Anyway, she and Sarah had been wanting to get together and hang out and chat. And Sarah invited her over to learn how to make bread. They spent 2 hours together, walking around the house, looking at the house, and then making bread and just chatting. And it's interesting because I don't think previously, having not worked at the Welsh, I had a much deeper appreciation listening to their conversation of both Kesha's patience in continuing to speak Welsh, even though it's much more difficult with a learner, and Sarah's resolve to continue speaking Welsh through some very complicated subjects that they were talking about, for 2 full hours, and it was awesome. And honestly, I was super impressed with Sarah, and I was super thankful to Kesha for being willing to endure that. But I think they had a good time, and it was fun. And Sarah was while exhausted at the end of it, she also was super excited. It's funny because like right after that, Sarah and I went for our second walk, and we were walking down the promenade here, and behind me, and the we ran into Brian Thomas, who was the first person that Sarah had an extended conversation with in Welsh. Um, so this would have been, I don't know, this was when we brought the Hawks to Wales, like 3 years ago maybe now, and he was staffing the visitor center up at Sagantium, and Sarah went in and started trying to speak Welsh, and he was so excited that this American was speaking Welsh, and so I know you know the story, but we talked to him. She talked to him, and eventually I went with the Hawks out, and we went and looked at the at the old Roman fort. But Sarah stayed in the visitor center talking with him the whole time in Welsh, and he was once again really patient and encouraging her. And then a couple days later, we went to Conwy Castle, and he was working there. And when we came in, he saw her across the entrance, the visitor center, and he called out to her and waved, and it was really fun. And we were there with Margaret, our friend, and so he was excited to talk to both Sarah and Margaret in Welsh, and when we saw him like a year and a half later here in Carnarvon, we ran into him in the street. He had Sarah's business card in his wallet still, and he was really excited. We weren't sure he'd remember us. But yeah, so we saw him and had another like a 20-minute talk with him. And it was, he actually, knowing that my Welsh isn't good, about a third of the conversation was in English. But he talked so fast, and Sarah was like, we walked away, and I understood, like what I usually do. And Sarah walked away, and she said, I understood everything you said. And he has Covey Welsh too, so it's tends to be accented a little bit, and he uses idioms that are, unusual. Yeah, it was really fun. And then Sarah and I spent the afternoon getting the house ready because we had a Nowruz party at the house for the Baha'is. And we ended up with 23 people came over. And it was really fun. The Baha'is are a wonderful, quirky group of people, and but I think everybody had a good time. We had a beautiful sunset, so most of the people came out and climbed up here to watch the sunset, and then we had a nice dinner, and great conversations, and there were a bunch of people we hadn't met before. Probably half, or maybe even more than half, were people that we hadn't met before. Probably half. So yeah. It was just awesome. It was exhausting. Everyone left and we cleaned up the house and went to bed. But it was nice. I slept actually probably better last night than I have the entire time we've been here, so I'm hoping that's a trend. Anyway, it was a beautiful day. Today is going to be another beautiful day. I'm looking out here at the Menai Strait, and the sun shining on everything, and glistening off the buoys and the gulls, and we're going to make the most of today because it's my birthday, not because it's anything else, because it's my birthday, and I will tell you about that in tomorrow's video. That is my story, and I'm sticking to it.